right, as everybody starts piling in, good afternoon, everybody. If it's 2 o'clock on a Wednesday, it means it must be time for Webinar Wednesday. I am your host, Greg Epps, and today we've got another fantastic webinar for you covering one of the products and services that are provided to you with your membership. Today, to be specific, we're going to be covering CRS, or the MLS Tax Suite. Now, unlike the past 2 weeks, I know we first started with a very long webinar covering Paragon, and then followed that up with an even lengthier webinar covering Transaction Desk. Well, for those of you that have stuck around for those two, I've got a treat for you today. We've got a nice and short little webinar for you, just because CRS, while a very powerful tool, is exceptionally straightforward and really just provides you with a handful of functionality that you can make the most of. So now that you guys can all hear me, as we have stated before, right now we are currently, thank you, Andrea, on our homepage right now, which is Georgia MLS or GAMLS.com. To access CRS or the MLS Tax Suite, we're going to click on the icon that says CRS located underneath Quick Access on your homepage. If for some reason you do not see that icon there, keep in mind you can always access it by adding the icon with the gear here, or under Tools, simply selecting CRS and going from there. All right, so moving along to CRS. Now, CRS, or the MLS Tax Suite, is a fairly straightforward system. This is going to be our version of if you belong to another MLS, whatever that MLS's tax database is. That's what this is going to serve for us. Through CRS, you are able to view all 159 counties worth of tax data. All the listings that are going to be found in Georgia MLS will have a tax record associated with it. The system itself is straightforward. As you can see at the top of the screen here, we've got two essential functional tabs. The first is going to be, hey Maggie, glad you're here to help. The first of which is going to be property search, which is fairly straightforward. This is going to allow for you to go through and do searches for properties to locate and view their tax records. Now, along with that, there is a prospecting functionality, and as it states, the prospecting functionality of the system is going to allow for you to do prospecting on properties and owners throughout the state, so that you can send off up to 5,000 labels every month. So with that being said, as we've done in previous weeks, this is going to be more of a top tier overview. We currently, out on our YouTube page right now, have webinars that cover how to go through and do a dedicated property search, and also how to do prospecting. But for those of you that are new, maybe don't want to have to sit through a full-fledged, in-depth, deep dive, I just wanted to basically cover the basics, show you guys what you have at your disposal, just to make you dangerous enough to get out there and try it. So looking at the site, like I mentioned before, we've got our two functions here, property search and prospecting. Now, looking under property search, there's going to be several things that you can do with this. Now, if you notice here right off the bat, we've got our search screen. This little window here is how we're going to fine tune and get started on our search. Below that, you'll notice we've got two columns. One is going to be recent properties. So as you go through the system, any recent listings that you've looked at for their tax records that you've looked at are going to show up here. These are going to be the same items that will show up on your homepage under recent CRS data property searches. So if you're wondering, there is some tethering betwixt the two systems. As you search, those recent searches are going to show up on the home page as well. Now, out to the right-hand side from the recent property searches, we have saved property searches. So while the system is going to show you the recent listings you've looked at, if there have been any listings or any tax records that you've viewed that you wanted to save to refer to at a later date, when you save those records, they will show up here on the right-hand side under saved property searches. Scrolling up to that search screen here, it seems pretty slim and trim, but there's a lot of functionality hidden within it. For starters, as you can see, not only can you run a property search, but you also have the ability through CRS to run a foreclosure search. Now, just as a quick reminder, when it comes to the foreclosure searches, this is going to provide you with information for foreclosures that have already been posted or registered, so you're not going to see any speculative information here, but you will be able to go through and select by county. You have up to 3 counties worth of searchability. So as we go through here, you can add your, I guess they've upped it to 4. You can add your counties that way. You have the ability to go through and enter in that information, whether it's the case number, the defendant, the location for that property, the parcel, the PIN, the subdivision name, and things of that nature. As you go through, once you click search, it'll pull up all the properties that meet that criteria. Keep in mind, if you're looking to do just a general property search and not looking to do a dedicated foreclosure search, if you happen to pull any properties in that property search that also happen to be foreclosures, you're going to be able to see that because they'll be denoted by an icon that'll show you here in a second. But now that we're back on the regular property screen, as noted with the foreclosure view, we can go through and add multiple counties here. So let's go ahead and do a proper one. We'll do DeKalb and we'll do Fulton. All right. Now, I can add these counties, and then what's going to happen is below that, notice we have a wildcard search field here, and I call that a wildcard search field. Shartana, no, it will not show pre-foreclosure information. That's why I was saying there's it's only going to be stuff that's already been reported. Hope that helps. But looking at that search screen that we have here, notice that you have the ability to enter in a name, an address, subdivision, parcel ID, or MLS number. So really they've tried to cover every way that you can go about finding this individual listing if you are looking for one. Now, by saying wildcard, if I were to type in Smith here, notice that it gives me some options. So as I type in Smith, I can either search by the owner's name, and I can just run a blatant search that's going to show me all of the Smiths that live or own properties in Fulton, Gwinnett, and DeKalb County. I can go by street address, where I can search for all of the Smith streets, roads, drives, things of that nature. I can also do subdivision, which will not only just find all the subdivisions with Smith in them across all 3 counties. So as you go through this, keep in mind, it's going to cast as wide a net as possible, but you will be able to parse that down as you go further into the search. So in this case, I'm just going to do owner's name. So right now we're going to look for all of the Smiths. Well, actually, we're going to do Smith, aka Timothy Allen Smith. And notice how once I put that information in, it automatically takes me to that tax record. Now, if we want or are looking in a particular area, so let's say I go through all of these and I don't want to have to look up an individual's name, but let's say I know a subdivision that I want to find information for. I can just type in that subdivision name. In this case, we're going to do Killian Woods. Now notice I can either view the owner's name information for the homeowners association, or I can view the subdivision information. Now, if I click on Killian Woods, the subdivision, and then click search, it's going to take me over and pull in all of the results for properties pertaining to that individual subdivision. So it works just that easily. As you go through, go back to the search here, just to show you one more time. You enter in what you're looking for. You specify whether it's going to be, like we were talking about before, the name, the address, the subdivision, parcel ID, or MLS. And once you find that, and click search. It's going to take you over to the dedicated results screen. Now, the way that I look at this is similarly to if you were looking at the one-line report in Paragon, meaning that it's going to provide you with information, but you can still go in and make some supplemental edits if you need to. Now, a couple of things to point out about this next screen that we're looking at here. At any point in time, if we need to go back, let's say we pick the wrong subdivision or the wrong last name, we'll always have the ability to go back and click back to search to take us to that original screen so we can go ahead and change up our search. Now, in a situation like this with Killian Woods, notice we have 104 properties. Well, let's say you're not looking for all 104 properties. You just need to find specific ones. Well, from here, we can whittle that search down even more. If you notice below saved results, we have owner name. So if I happen to know the owner of the property in the subdivision, but I'm not sure if I know it's Smith, but there are a lot of Smiths in it, I can go ahead and type in Smith here and it'll just show me all of the Smiths within that subdivision. Likewise, if I'm looking for a particular street instead of looking for a particular home, I can just put in that street number and or street name, and it'll only give me the information pertaining to that individual street. If I have a particular unit number, I can search by that. Parcel ID, I can also enter in the MLS number if I have it as well. In this case, I want to just cast a wide enough net to show you the information on the screen, just so you're aware of all of the choices that you have within the system. Now, if you notice, on the right-hand side of the screen, next to where we have our search parameters, we've got a little grid here with a map. Now, a couple of things to point out. If you notice at the top of the screen here, we've got a series of icons. If we see a looks like a little realtor sign or a real estate sign there, it's going to be denote that that property is for sale. It doesn't just mean that it's for sale, but if you notice down here where we have 3735 Colonial Trail, 3725 Colonial Trail, if I click on that icon, notice that we've got a little pop-up window that hovers here. That may be too small for you to see, but what it tells me is that, one, this listing's for sale. It lets me know what the list date was for that property. It lets me know what the listing price was for the property. And it has a link that I can click on that will open up Georgia MLS and take me to the full report for that individual listing. So once again, like I mentioned earlier, there is some interconnectivity between Georgia MLS and CRS data. So you do have the ability to view that information directly from those reports. Now, along with being able to view some, good question, Angela. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully that's a little bigger for you guys to see. So as I was noting before, if I cover over that window, hopefully that makes a little more sense and you can see that a little better now, but it is going to give you information pertaining to what that listing is doing in the MLS. Now, if you notice right below that, we have a little for sale sticker. If I scroll up at the top, that lets me know if we see an icon with that sticker there, that individual property has sold. So if I want to, I can go ahead and if I don't even have to click on it, I can just hover my icon above or hover my cursor above that icon there. And it lets me know that what the list number is for that listing, that it's sold, what it's sold for, and what date it's sold. And just like we did before, I can click on that list number, and it's going to open up that full report in Georgia MLS for me to see all that information. Thanks, guys. Great suggestion for enlarging the screen. I'll remember to do that next time. Along with being able to view things that have sold and things that are for sale, if a listing is pending, it's going to show up with a little pen nib on it. If it's contingent, it'll have the icon looks like a hand with a dollar hovering above it. If it's expired, it will have an hourglass. And finally, like I mentioned before, if there's a foreclosure attached to that property, it will show up with that little courthouse icon there. I'm trying to scroll through to see if we've got any of those other icons just so you can see what they're going to look like when you're there. But if I can't find them, I'm sure we'll come across one as we continue on. There we go. So we've got one that's pending right now. Give you that information here. You don't have the subdivision search option. Now, there wouldn't be necessarily an option for you, James. If I just go back to the search here, that screen is a wild card. So if I didn't select or pick up an option for subdivision, I just simply typed the subdivision's name in that field, and it went ahead and did that search for me. That's the wild card function of this. If you have the lot information, because remember, as you can see, not only can you search by subdivision or address, you can also do parcel ID or MLS number if you have that, Raina. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at one of these properties, just so you can see what the tax record's going to look like. All right, so we'll do this 3725 Colonial Trail. Let's go ahead and give that a look-see. I apologize before I move on to show you the report. I did want to point out that on this little grid here that's showing us the properties, if you notice there's space, if I go down to the bottom here, I can scroll through and it's going to provide me with information. All right, James, my email address is greg@gamls.com. If you can, please send me an email addressing that issue, just because so we can go through the webinar today, and I'll cover it for you as soon as we get done with this webinar. But generally speaking, if you're on that initial search page for CRS, there we go. Thank you, Maggie. All right. But yeah, James, go ahead and send me an email, and I'll give you a call after the class and walk you through how to find the area where you put in the name and all that other information. But as I was saying, if you notice here, we've got a series of headings located at the top of the screen, which we can move, we can sort across. The only problem and possible complaint, it's not really a complaint that I have with the system, is that There isn't a easy scroll bar at the top. You have to scroll down to the bottom of the screen to move across, but unless you know what these headings are, that's going to make it a little difficult for you to view the information that's here. If you'd like to make adjustments to what appears on this grid at the top of the screen at any point in time, there's a link that says Profiles and Settings. Through Profiles and Settings, you can dictate what information shows up on this grid, just like you could go through and adjust the output on the one-line report in Paragon. Now, when you're looking at these properties, if you want to view the information there, you can either click on the listing or the address that's going to pull up the tax record. You also have the ability through the screen to view these properties on a map. I apologize for my computer being slow, where it's going to pull up all of those properties. And we can zoom in to view where they are in proximity to one another on the map. And if we want to go ahead and show that property or view that property and look at that tax record, all we have to do is hover over the property and click View Report. So, looking at our property report here, there's a whole host of information that we can glean from this property. It is worth knowing the information that you're going to find on the tax record is provided to us from the tax assessor's office. That being said, that means the information that's provided is may change depending upon the county that you're looking in. Case in point, some counties provide you with subdivision information, others don't. So as you're going through the system, if you notice that there is a discrepancy or there may be more information in one property tax record versus the other, the reason for that is it may be in a different county that doesn't provide all of the information. Looking at our results view here, yes, you can, Nicole. You can see all of the properties. So as I was saying, let me find a result for us here that may be in our system. Actually, we're not going to spend all day looking for that. What I wanted to point out is if you happen to look at a tax record for a listing that's in Georgia MLS, there will actually be a photo here. All of the Angela, that is a great question, almost a segue question. If I scroll down here at the bottom of the screen, it's going to be at the bottom of every screen that we're on. So right now we're on the property search screen. Even if I scroll down to the bottom of the tax record, there is a data currency icon located on the bottom left portion of that screen. If I go ahead and click on that, it's going to take us over to a window that's going to allow for us to scroll through all of the counties in the state of Georgia, and it's going to provide us with the most recent sales, earliest mortgage, most recent mortgage. Let us know if it's a GIS map. It also tells us how current and recent foreclosures are. And am I missing any others? Yeah, this is going to be where you're going to go to find out how current and up-to-date all of the information is on a county-by-county basis. So all you need to do is find your county and then match it with the information at the top to find out how current and up-to-date that information is. Also, thank you for getting that one for me, Maggie. All right, let me go back because we want to look at a tax record. These are great questions, guys. Like all car washes in each county? That's a great question, Sherry. I don't believe that you can, but let me get back to you on that one. Again, shoot me an email real quick at greg@gambles.com, and I'll make sure I can get to the bottom of that for you. All right. Where was I? Let's scroll through and find a property. Sure, we'll go with this one. Looking at that tax record, sorry, I had to back up for the data currency, but looking at the tax record here, as we go through, notice it's going to give us standard information, location, property summary, general parcel information, current owner. For each one of these sections, notice that there's a little drop-down window. The reason for this here is you can customize what is viewed when you print this information off. So let's say in this case, if I was printing this off and I didn't want to have the current owner's information posted, I could simply click on that little downward arrow and it will hide that information. Notice how it grays it out, so they're not going to be viewed when I print this off or email it off as well, or email it off. From here, I'll be able to view sales history information, tax assessment information, year-over-year taxes, mortgage history, foreclosure history, property characteristics, several of them, legal description, and FEMA flood information. Now, notice there are going to be some supplemental links here. So if I want to get more information pertaining to the flood zones, I can learn more about flood insurance by clicking on floodsmart.gov. I can pull up the FERMET by clicking on the link associated with it. And going up more towards the top, you'll notice we can view tax payment history, mortgage trust details. We can even go so far as, let me open up that current owner. We can look at the white page listing for the owner if we would like to contact them. I do always stress, if you're reaching out to an owner through the system, while the system will provide you with the white pages information, it does not denote if someone has requested that they be removed from the do not call list. So user beware if that's the route you want to go. Something else I wanted to point out at the top of the screen here, next to where the photos would be, there is a map. Now, if you notice here, I have two options underneath the map, the first of which is to upload a custom image. If I'm dealing with a property that I happen to have the photo for, but there isn't one associated with this individual report, I can always upload a custom image so that there is a photo for the property associated with that report if I were to print that off or show it to someone. To give you another idea of the functionality of this system and what all it can do, even though it's fairly straightforward, if I click on View Larger Map, that's going to open up a map for the general area pertaining to the property that we're looking at. Along with showing us the map here, this is an editable map, so there's lots of information that we can glean from it. Right off the bat, we can set our dimensions and shadings for that property line if we would like. Add and remove by simply clicking that on and off. You can do measurements for the partial, lat, long, and distance. You can do a rectangle search or polygon search if you're looking for certain areas. More importantly, out to the left-hand side, if you notice we've got double arrows here. If I click on those arrows, it's going to open up all of the CRS map layers that are at your disposal. So I can do things like if I want to see what's sold recently in Georgia MLS, let's say I want to go 12 months back, I can simply click on 12, and as I scan out, all of these shaded or colored icons or property lines are going to be properties that have sold within the last 12 months. Not only have they sold in that time period, but it's going to tell me the date that they sold and what they sold for, along with being able to pull up recent sales. If I want to, I can add labels. Let's say I want to view the partial ID for each one of these. I can just click that and it'll turn all of those on for me. I can view listings. So let's say I want to see what's for sale right now in the area. If I click on that and turn it on, anytime I see one of those little property marks, not only is it going to allow for me to view the tax record for that individual listing, but it'll allow for me to pull up the MLS listing in Georgia MLS as well. April, this is being recorded. And if there's more information or you would like to see something more focused or drilled down, we are going to have upcoming webinars covering prospecting and the tax records, but there are previous recordings covering both of those right now on YouTube. So as soon as we're done here, you can go over there. Yes, Sandy, just like I told April, this is being recorded. I was just pointing out that if you would like to, you have other webinars that you can watch right now that are available to you instead of waiting for this to be edited and uploaded. Anyways, along with being able to view the listing information, you'll be able to pull up foreclosures from the map. I can click on this here. There we go. By simply clicking on that, it'll pull those up. You can do the same thing by viewing the FEMA flood zone. Now, keep in mind, this is a live map. So as you pan and scan and zoom in and out, it'll pull that information up for you. Thank you, Maggie. You can also pull up a topographical map. And you can pull up zip codes, but you will have to zoom out far enough to be able to see where those zip codes lie. All right. Now, along with being able to view this functional map, there are other things that you can do with your tax record. Next up, we've got comparables. This is one of the more straightforward, easy ways for you to do a quick CMA within Georgia MLS. By simply clicking on the comparables button, you can go ahead and from there, it's going to pull up comparable properties that are going to be located nearby your subject property. Subject property is going to be listed as a black S on the map. As we scroll down here, there's a place for you to go in and enter in your search parameters. Keep in mind, you will have a full list of all of the possible comps that are located nearby underneath or at the bottom of the screen. You can add or remove those by simply checking them and choosing to remove checked or keeping the checked ones there. It's also worth pointing out, and this is something that gets brought up a lot in our CE class, if you notice underneath our comparable sales for information, we do have a home improvement adjustment. This home improvement adjustment allows for you to add up to 3 improvements that were made for the home, but keep in mind, like it says here, select the improvement type, the approximate amount spent on the level of improvement. Based on the improvement, a calculation of the percentage of amount will be shown. This amount can be added to the property value. This value is based on the property location and estimated recovery from the total amount spent on the improvement. This is one of the only, actually the only place in Georgia MLS where if you're looking to make an addition or an adjustment to a particular comp, that you can add that improvement here, and it will evaluate that adjustment or improvement based upon the area in the state that you're in. This may come in handy because, as we all know, having a pool built, if you're living in St. Mary's, probably isn't going to cost the same as it would if you were building one, I don't know, in Gwinnett. So you will have the ability to add those improvements, and it will evaluate those based upon your location from that section there. Along with doing a straightforward comparable, you can drill down and do more of a custom comparable, where you have more hands-on ability to generate your comps. You also have a prospecting tool directly from here. And let's say you're in an instance where you're looking at a condo or a townhome, and you realize that, well, you were looking at that townhome that you want to prospect out to everybody that lives in that neighborhood. Well, you can just simply click on prospecting, and it will take you over to the prospecting section where you will be able to go in and prospect in that area. All right. Along with being able to do the prospecting, we finally have a facts and figures, which is a demographic tool that's going to allow for you to see an area sales detail report, area sales trend report, look at statistics for home sales in the area, commercial sales report, demographic information, directions. You'll also be able to pull up a price trend report, get school information, because it seems like every website that we have gives you information about the schools, subdivision demographic information, and it does traffic counts as well. So all of that information is going to be associated with every single listing that not only that we have in the service, but across all counties within the state. So it's a great tool to use. It's also worth noting as I go through this here, at the top of the screen next to that profiles and settings section, there is a help icon. If at any point in time you're stuck in a particular area within the system, all you have to do is click on that help button. And if you notice here, it didn't just take me to the help screen. It took me to the help screen pertaining directly to the screen that I'm on within CRS. So if you're, no matter where you are in the system, if you simply click help, you're immediately going to get help with how to use and navigate and work your way through that individual section that you're in. This is also really good because at the top of the screen here, notice that we have video tutorials, and there's even a whole list of help topics that you can use that will show you how to use every aspect of the system, along with things like description of loan types and building area descriptions. If you're not sure what those acronyms mean, those sections will spell them out for you, and they can all be accessed by simply clicking on help topics at the top of the screen. All right, we're keeping this short and sweet today. The best thing to do in that situation, if you're trying to provide that information out to your clients, would be to pull it up here, print it off. There isn't a way, because this is a subscription-based service, for you to be able to give a direct link to your clients out that way, but you can print it off and show it to them if you would like. All right. So as I was saying, we're moving along because I know we're doing top tier today. Wanted to move over to prospecting because for those of you who may have been familiar with the system, prospecting has gone through an overhaul. Much like a lot of other systems in the industry. Oh, no problem. I'm glad that was helpful. The prospecting system itself has gone through a bit of an overhaul, which makes it a lot more like if you were using like a Remine or something along those lines. As instead of before, you would start with your counties, kind of like your search, and drill down from there. Here, they've broken everything down into a toolbar located out the left-hand side of the screen. You have the map that you can center yourself on if you would also like to work that way, where you can draw shapes and do things of that nature. But all of the value here in you're whittling down your prospecting to find the people that you really want to prospect out to are going to be defined by this search bar located on the left side of the screen. Much like under the property search, you do have the ability to search, as you can see, up to 4 counties. In this case, let's say I was looking in Gwinnett. Start typing it, it pulls it up here. Once I've selected Gwinnett, I can keep selecting counties, but if I just want to focus on Gwinnett County, I can do the same. Now, in this case, I can have the ability, just like we did before, where I can search by owner name, address, or subdivision, but we also have filters now. So if I want, I can click on boundaries, and clicking on boundaries means that I can now define this search by census tract, by census block, or I can simply click on zip codes. Now, since I selected Gwinnett, it's going to provide me with all of the zip codes in Gwinnett. I can just simply select the one that I want, click update, and then it automatically starts parsing out that information for me. Centers the map on that zip code, and now I know I've got over 5,500 listings that I can, or people to prospect out to. So obviously, I want to drill this down more, just so you're aware the various fields. And keep in mind, not to poo-poo anything, but unlike other systems of this type, all of your choices here are available for you. There is no premium aspect or sale for this. So what you're searching and seeing here is what you actually can use. So along with the boundaries, you have the ability to refine your search by listing type. If you want to go for sale, sold, sale pending, sale contingent, expired. I can also look owner type if I want to deal with owner occupied, owner absentee in state, or absentee out of state. Let's do owner occupied. Ownership duration. I can select the number of years that that property has been owned. So let's say 10 to 20 years. Now notice each time I enter in a different parameter, it whittles that search down. So where we were at over 5,500, now we're down to 4,692. As I was saying, I can keep going down now, so I can also look at the appraised value. I can search by property type. It's worth noting, this is more of a usage type. So we've got agriculture, city exempt, commercial, all the way down. We've got residential, state exempt, etc. If I want to do recent sales, I can select the recent sales over an 18-month period. I can also select the last sale date if I want to define when these properties were sold. Flood zones. So as you can see, I can select all, whether it's effective high, moderate, or low risk. I can determine the mortgage age by simply entering in the information here. If I want to deal with cash buyers, I can do so by simply selecting yes or no. It'll sort out those who are cash buyers versus those that aren't. I don't know what I put in here that got our boundaries. Anyways, we can also use land usage, which is going to give me all of my choices for land usage here. A lot of this is going to work similarly to how it did before for those of you who are familiar with it. It's just been put in my opinion, a little more user-friendly interface. Makes it a little easier for you to go through, handpick, check, and uncheck the things that you're looking for. We've got acreage, so we can sort by acreage type here. We also have vacant land only, which is so we can select yes or no if we're looking for vacant land. We can also select the land type. So not only can we do your standard apartment complex, business culture, cluster, converted land, floodplain, golf course. So to answer your question, yes, we can also look at year built. If we're looking to retrieve the name of the investors, generally speaking, if you're looking up a property report that's been purchased by investors, it'll give you that company name. I don't believe it's going to give you the individual's personal information. There's an undo Bix on the right. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you for that. Really, I just wanted to go through and make sure that I showed you guys all of the various searchable the functionality of it, that you could go through each one of the fields, and that by clicking on and opening, no, I got you, Wanda. I was just being silly. what was I saying? Yeah, to show you that if you click on any one of these, whereas in previous instances, if you were to click on something like cash buyers or mortgage age, there would be a pitch for you to upgrade to a premium package on other services. You don't deal with that here. Everything that you see is open, ready, and available for you to start searching on as we speak. So let me just pull this up real quick, whittle this down. Just decent amount. And then once we've got, and the reason why I did that is because once you get it below 5,000, because as noted, you have up to 5,000 exports a month. You can go through, once you get it below, it'll show you all the participants' names. Now, I have 62 pages here. Obviously, I'm not going to print off and do all 62 of these pages, but I did want to point out as you scroll through, you'll have the ability to sort, pick, and choose who you want to send stuff to. So if I'd like to, I can select all, and I can just begin prospecting now. If I realize that these people right here aren't necessarily in the group that I want to prospect out to, I can just simply click remove, and it'll get rid of those people so I can move on about my business. Or if I just go through and I realize, all right, these are the folks that I want to go ahead and prospect out to now, I can either just a little. For the sake of today, we're going to cherry pick. But at the top of the screen here, notice I have two options. If I decide to go over it and create labels, right then and there, it pulls up the screen, allows for me to refine my records by zip code, make sure the addressee is displayed, first name, last name first, lets me know which address is used, and lets me select not only the Avery type form that I'm using, but it also lets me put in or select which label I'm starting off in. So if the last time you were printing off, you made it to right here, you can just click here and it'll start printing off on the last used sticker or the last unused sticker. You get what I'm saying. Along with being able to create labels, if I would rather export this out to something like, say, Excel or something along those lines, I can click on the export button. It's going to show me all of the people that I'm prospecting out to that I can select. Again, I can either select all or remove the ones that I want. How do you get to labels? You simply click Create Labels, James. So as I go through and once I've sorted my prospecting down, at the top of the screen, once you get it below 5,000, it's going to give you the option to create labels or export out. All you have to do is click the button that says Create Labels, and you'll be good to go. So as I was saying, under the export, we've got the ability to go through and we can drill down again. We can sort, as you can see, in ascending or descending order for any of the headings that we have here. I can select all fields if I want. If I still want to go down and remove a couple of people, I can. But I also have the ability to click Edit Fields. Clicking on Edit Fields is going to take me to this screen here where it's going to provide me with all of the information that I can export out to. Now, what this does is it allows for you to go in and hand pick which fields you would like to see exported. And in doing so, it defines how that Excel spreadsheet is going to look. I always recommend, if you're putting this into your own CRM, make sure that the fields that you select here match and or line up with the fields that you have in your CRM. Once you've selected the ones you want, all you have to do is click Export Out, and it will export those out into a CSV or comma-separated file for you to upload into another system like Excel or whatever CRM that you guys use. And with that, guys, that's the basic gist, the elevator pitch in 40 minutes of how you can go through and do the basic functionality of CRS and the MLS tax suite. Once again, it's fairly straightforward. What we're looking at here is the ability to do a property search to look through the tax records for all 159 counties worth of data. Or if we would like to, we have the ability to go through the same scope of people to prospect out across multiple counties using all of these filters. How do I get the criteria on the left side of the screen? All you have to do, and just so we can see this again, is directly from, once I click on prospecting, and we scroll, automatically all of those should pop up on the left. If you don't see them, it may mean that you've got this collapsed here. So, all right, Ali, you're messing with me now. Unfortunately, for those of you that don't know, this is not a CE course. This is a weekly webinar We do currently provide you with CE courses pertaining to Paragon. We have one covering the MLS tax suite, one for Transaction Desk, and one creating a CMA within Paragon. We are hosting and will continue to host virtual classes for all of our members. So if you're interested in that, if you go out to the MLS tech scheduler, you'll be able to pull that information up there to schedule class. I think we have classes going on the last week of July, and we'll be doing classes in August and September. Actually, we're going to do them every month. I agree, Ali. I think it's a great improvement on the prospecting, and it's very intuitive. It's user friendly, and honestly, it puts the focus on the wealth and the value of this in the hands of you guys, because you know the market well and you know exactly who you're prospecting out to. This makes it a little easier for you to be able to do that. Now, once again, I know the marvelous Maggie put in a link for YouTube so that we could go ahead and, if we were interested, view information pertaining to CRS. If you wanted to catch that now, this is our YouTube page. We actually break everything out into playlists. So if you scroll down, notice we've got an MLS tax suite that shows you how we've got prospecting, property search, listing photos on CRS, branding with CRS. So everything that you need to do can be located right out there. And just like we've done before, once we're done here, this will be edited down and should be up and on this YouTube page available for you to view tomorrow sometime. So with that being said, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask right now. Otherwise, for those of you that are done, thank you for sitting in. As I always say about this time, I hope you go forth and sell a couple $1 million worth of homes. Next week, I think we're going to be revisiting Paragon and drilling down into search, printing, and listing. I believe so. How do you log into YouTube? Ali, you don't even have to log in. All you have to do is go to YouTube. If you click on that link that was in the chat box, or if you just go to YouTube and type in Georgia MLS, you'll be able to find our chevron, and then you know you're in the right place. All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. We will be here with more information about the products and services provided to you with Georgia MLS. Same bat time, same bat channel next week. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Have a good one.